Take the UMI Z, put the new company name UmiDigi on it, replace the single camera with a dual camera, and there you go, a new phone called UmiDigi Z Pro is born. After a 1-week test, you will now learn everything important about the UmiDigi Z Pro in this review. I'm Christopher for ChinaMobileMag, enjoy watching. The UmiDigi Z Pro again comes in a metal box, but this time with the new UmiDigi logo instead the Umi one. Accessories remain the same. There is a user manual, a power supply, a red USB Type-C cable and a SIM needle. The design of the UmiDigi Z Pro is entirely identical to the one we know from the Umi Z. The only change is color, which now is a matte black that changes to a dark gray depending on surrounding light. Build quality like on the predecessor is top notch. The body is entirely made from metal and the buttons do not rattle. The USB Type-C port sadly again is longer than the standard, which means the UmiDigi Z Pro is incompatible with all Type-C cables and accessories out there. The front once again offers a solid-state home button, almost identical to the one on the OnePlus 3 with embedded fingerprint scanner. One RGB status LED keeps you up to date about missed messages, calls and notifications. What disappointed us is the glass cover of the camera module, which is very sensitive to scratches. The screen once again is based on a 5.5-inch Full HD LCD panel made by Sharp. It's fully laminated and offers good viewing angles. The picture looks sharp and the color tone is on the warmer side. Contrast could be better and so could be black levels. On the lower area of the screen there is a bright area, which we also noticed on the Umi Z. It's quite a letdown they didn't fix this. Outdoor readability under bright sunlight is okay, but not entirely perfect. The screen glass isn't prone to deep scratches, yet still shows some tiny micro scratches after a week of usage. If you don't like that, make sure to use a screen protector or tempered glass. The screen glass doesn't offer an anti-fingerprint coating, so you'll see smudges on it quite fast. The touchscreen supports 5 touch points. It clearly isn't the best one though, since there is an input lag which is very noticeable when typing. What's more, the touch resolution is rather low, which results in stutters while scrolling and a certain inaccuracy which leads to typos when typing fast. The processor used once again is a Helio X27, which basically is a very powerful chipset with enough processing grunt to smoothly run modern 3D games with a decent frame rate. Sadly, the SoC does get quite hot. After some gaming, 80 degrees Celsius SoC temperature are a common thing and the rear of the phone reaches around 40 to 50 degrees Celsius. Especially now with rising outdoor temperatures, this is quite uncomfortable. The RAM speed with 5 GB per second of throughput has been improved compared to the Umi Z, but still isn't perfect. What remained unchanged is speed of the 32 GB memory. Reading speed is 117 MB per second and writing speed is 68 MB per second. MicroSD access is rather slow as well at 48 MB per second reading and 18 MB per second writing speed. MicroSD cards can be formatted as internal memory. The UmiDigi Z Pro packs most important sensors like a compass and gyroscope. Both of them do work without any issues. What remained unchanged is the fingerprint scanner and home button. Like on the predecessor, the fingerprint scanner stops working every once in a while for a couple of seconds, which also applies to the home button functionality. This is extremely annoying since you have to manually unlock the phone then or wait for it to work again. Also, if it stops working, you can't get out of some apps anymore. The UmiDigi Z Pro still runs Android 6.0 Marshmallow, but at least it's vanilla Android with an almost up-to-date security patch from February 2017. The Bluetooth bug of the predecessor, where Bluetooth was enabled automatically after every reboot or after disabling airplane mode, has been fixed. In exchange, there are a couple of new bugs. Auto rotation, for example, stops working every once in a while and you need to reboot the phone in order for it to work again. Another bug does affect Google Fit. Somehow it doesn't save recorded sessions properly. After saving information about distance and average speed as well as the map just disappears, which renders Google Fit useless. The most annoying thing, however, is that system performance is just as bad as it was on the Umi Z. You really wouldn't think a Helio X27 is powering this phone when only judging by smoothness and responsiveness of the system UI. Putting a much weaker Umi Plus E next to the Z Pro, you clearly notice that the Plus E runs much smoother than the Z Pro. It really is sad that UmiDigi somehow doesn't manage to get their user experience smooth on the Helio X27. Let's close the software chapter and move over to reception quality. This is actually where the UmiDigi Z Pro shines. Mobile network reception quality is great, band 20 LTE is supported, and mobile data works without any issues this time. The UmiDigi Z Pro supports ABGN dual-band Wi-Fi and managed to max out a 200 Mbit internet connection. One floor below the router, speed dropped to 10 Mbit per second, but there have been no signal losses. Bluetooth 4.1 is supported too and worked well during all tests with a gaming controller and Bluetooth headsets. GPS works awesomely great. Signal strength is on a very high level and it locks GPS position within 8 to 9 seconds. Navigation and tracking works well and very accurate. While tracking, you can even see switches between the left and right side of a road on the map. The internal media speaker of the UmiDigi Z Pro has been improved a bit. There are more basses now, but that comes with a downside since it shows more distortion starting at about 80% of the maximum volume. Quality via headphones is excellent thanks to an XP Smart Amplifier. Telephony quality is okay, the microphones do a decent job and the noise cancelling works well. The phone receiver, however, sounds a bit dull and tinny. Next, let's have a look at the star of the show, the camera. The UmiDigi Z Pro boasts a rear dual camera setup which consists of two Sony IMX258 sensors with f2.2 aperture and 13 megapixel resolution. One of those sensors does monochrome shots only. The dual camera is the basis of several special features. One of them is a super night mode which uses the dual camera to catch more detail and light when taking pictures in low light conditions. This allegedly improves picture quality a lot and indeed we have had quite good experiences with it, though pictures don't reach high-end quality. Another feature is a mono mode, which makes use of the monochrome sensor to create monochrome pictures. Those pictures are supposed to look better than monochrome pictures taken with a color sensor. But the main feature of the dual camera, of course, is a bouquet mode. Using this mode you can change the focus of pictures afterwards and get a nice blurry background like with DSLR cameras. This feature can create stunning results, but it isn't a point and shoot feature. You need to play around with the settings quite a bit and take multiple shots to get the best results. UmiDigi should optimize their algorithms too, since often the software has problems getting the bokeh effect right. Often stuff that is supposed to be sharp is blurred and vice versa. The bouquet mode can also be used for videos with full HD resolution, but the object that is supposed to be excluded from the bokeh effect needs to be still. As soon as it's moving, it will lose sharpness. Just background stuff is allowed to move. In single camera mode, the UmiDigi Z Pro doesn't perform bad. Actually, results are very decent considering it's a UmiDigi smartphone which usually have bad cameras. We have been able to take some really nice pictures with it. Still, UmiDigi haven't succeeded getting the maximum out of the camera. The amount of noise is rather high and there could be more detail when taking landscape shots. The lack of detail makes pictures look a bit blurry sometimes. Taking pictures in low light without the super night mode doesn't produce good results. The quad LED flash doesn't help much either, since the camera is very sensitive to movements then. Recording 4K videos, we have been utterly disappointed by the quality. Videos look like full HD recordings taken on a mediocre phone camera, just larger. What's more, there is no EIS or OIS. The only decent part about videos is the audio quality. The front camera is pretty good, at least at daylight. UmiDigi uses a 13 megapixel Samsung S5K 3L8 sensor here, which does awesomely sharp selfies at daylight. Video quality is decent too. What the camera struggles with is low light. There is a front LED flash, but it doesn't help much. A screen flash feature would have been more useful. So in a nutshell, camera hardware wise, the UmiDigi Z Pro is awesome, but as also often, software optimization is where the phone sucks a bit. Yes, they did a half decent job, but it's not enough. They do promise an awesome camera, but to deliver this, they will need to keep tweaking. So let's hope for future updates to squeeze out the remaining potential out of the dual camera. Battery life compared to the Umi Z has been improved, but just a little. Mainly standby consumption was optimized and is now down at 0.8% per hour, which is decent. But screen-on consumption still is high at an average of 17.5% per hour. While using the phone on a daily basis, we got an average screen-on time of 5 hours and 42 minutes, which considering the capacity of 3750 mAh by far isn't a perfect result. Also, like on the Umi Z, fast charging doesn't work properly. Charging isn't slow at a bit more than 2 hours for a charge from 20 to 100%, but the charging curve is linear, so you can't quickly charge to 70% within a fraction of the total charging time like you usually could do with Pump Express Plus. Verdict: the UmiDigi Z Pro is a solid piece of hardware with lots of software issues like we're used to from this manufacturer. If the software was more mature, the UmiDigi Z Pro could be a bargain, but right now we can only give a very limited purchase recommendation. So let's see if future software updates will improve things or if they just keep this phone the way it is and move on to the next one. So that's all for this review. The link to the shop and more information is located down below in the video description. I am Christopher for CMM, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.